It's an intriguing scene from above. A creek snaking its way through the English countryside, framed by layers of sand that resemble the rings of trees. But it's not in the news because of its beauty. It's because it's not supposed to look like it does. This is a reservoir. It's located in northern England, and the part with the creek is bare and sandy because the region just saw its driest March since 1961. The Environment Agency says April wasn't much wetter, getting about half the rainfall it normally does. Utility officials say the region's reservoirs are at about 69% capacity, according to the British Broadcasting Corporation. They were more than 90% full last year at this time. Officials are trying to manage the issue by containing leaks and utilizing pipes and networks to balance out water levels from one area to the next. They're also asking the public to help out by using water sparingly. Rising utility bills are an issue in this part of the world, and it's expected to get worse before it gets better. The UK is not the only place troubled by this spring's weather. Impacts on the U.S. are next on The World from A to Z. I'm Carl Azus. Thank you for watching. In the Lone Star State of Texas, a heat wave has brought triple-digit temperatures to many places, with new records expected in cities like San Antonio and Austin. Forecasters say the baking heat will likely stick around until this weekend. Up north in Minnesota, combining forces of hot, dry conditions and windy air were fanning several wildfires Wednesday. They were burning out of control in the northeastern part of the state. Strong thunderstorms were in the forecast for the region, but those could bring problems of their own, like the excessive rain that hit the eastern U.S. this week. Areas of Pennsylvania and Maryland are soaked, with some rivers spilling well beyond their banks and flood danger spreading several states south Wednesday. Along with bad weather, spring has brought a silver lining for the U.S. economy.
When the temperatures rise, so does spending. Typically, Americans shell out more money during the summer months, and the latest Consumer Price Index data released this week is good news for consumers ahead of the start of summer.
CPI, or Consumer Price Index, is important because it's going to monitor the changes in prices month over month.
Annual inflation cooled to 2.3% in April, and overall prices went up by only 0.2% from the month before.
This was within the range of expectations, but on the lower end.
The good news is overall prices for food, gas, and air travel are down. Those high egg prices we've been seeing have finally cracked. Egg prices dipped more than 12% last month. The bad news is shelter costs are up, which measures how much we spend on housing, and that accounts for a large portion of families' budgets.
That's one of the biggest costs that people have, whether they're renting or whether they're owning. The cost that you have month to month, is going to impact how much other money you have to put towards other resources.
I'm Jen Sullivan.
Word and out. Katie Seacott, Chip Dandle, and Buck Weaver all played for what historic baseball teams? Brooklyn Dodgers, Chicago Cubs, Cincinnati Red Stockings, Chicago White Sox. Along with Shoeless Joe Jackson, these were all players for the Chicago White Sox in the scandalous 1919 World Series.
A major change in Major League Baseball could alter the legacies of players like Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose. This week, League Commissioner Rob Manfred removed a permanent baseball ban on a number of stars who passed away. Jackson was one of 8 Chicago White Sox players who were kicked out of the sport after they were found to have intentionally lost the 1919 World Series for money. Jackson played well in the series, and his alleged involvement with the scandal continues to be controversial. He died in 1951. Rose accepted a ban in 1989 after an investigation found he'd illegally gambled on games while managing the Cincinnati Reds. He said he had only bet on his team to win. The former commissioner who banned Rose said he could participate in baseball again if he would, quote, reconfigure his life. But league leaders determined he didn't do that, and he died last year. Now, though, MLB's current commissioner has reinstated 16 deceased players, including Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose, and 1 deceased owner. Manfred suggested the bans during their lifetimes were enough punishment and that they no longer threatened the game's integrity. This means Jackson, whose career batting average was .356, and Rose, who set numerous records, including hits and games played, will be eligible for baseball's Hall of Fame beginning in 2028. Jackson's been considered for that before, according to ESPN, and many seem to support his candidacy now. For Rose, some said the change was a long time coming, while others say his lifestyle should keep him out. Before his death last September, Rose said the honor should be given to people while they're still alive. On this date in world history, May 15th has seen exciting and historic achievements for women. Tens of thousands of people gathered at Sydney Harbor on this date in 2010 to welcome home Jessica Watson. The Australian 16-year-old had spent the previous 210 days sailing around the world on a quest to become the youngest person to do that non-stop and unassisted. There was some controversy about whether she'd sailed enough nautical miles to claim the record, but Watson still became a national hero. On this date in 1970, U.S. President Richard Nixon announced that Anna Mae Hayes and Elizabeth P. Hoisington would become the first female brigadier generals in the U.S. Army. Hayes had led the Army Nurse Corps, and Hoisington had led the Women's Army Corps. They were officially promoted in June of 1970 and retired the following year. And on May 15, 1930, Ellen Church began working as a flight attendant, the first woman to hold that job. The nurse from Iowa was actually a licensed pilot, but airlines wouldn't allow women to fly their planes at that time. So she convinced Boeing Air Transport to hire female nurses to serve passengers and relieve their apprehension about flying.
The dry desert region of Almeria, Spain is home to a few towns modeled after America's Wild West, and a lot of westerns have been filmed here, earning the region the nickname the Hollywood of Europe.
The light here is a particular light. You can shoot from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m., and the light is always the same, so it's good for the film's economy.
Sets like this popped up in the 1950s, and over 170 Western movies have been filmed here since. In fact, Almeria is one of the birthplaces of what's called the spaghetti Western, a subgenre of Western cinema known for its low budgets, and it's often produced by Italian directors.
And then, over time, they discovered that they could find whatever they needed. Horses, machines, technicians, makeup artists, anything technical here, in Almeria in particular.
Today, there's still a community of cowboys who hang around and give visitors a show. Most of these performing cowboys have acted in movies, too.
I was about 14 or 15 years old when I came to these villages, and it was here that I learned to do everything that we do nowadays. Riding horses, falling from a height, fighting on foot, and from then on, I also started to work in cinema, dubbing actors.
And each year, they have quite the show to saddle up for. The region hosts Europe's only Western Film Festival, held annually in October.
A Loco windbreaker. A Fridays are awesome sling bag with everybody's favorite hairlines. These are ways to show you've got spirit, for the world from A to Z. Check out our new merch store at worldatozorg/store, or just scroll down on our website and click Shop Our Merch Store. It means the world to have you wearing the world from A to Z. Going cross-country from west to east today, we've got Mrs. Zavala's class with us. El Cajon is a city in the Golden State of California, and it's there you'll find Greenfield Middle School. Next to the land of 10,000 lakes, the city of Rochester, Minnesota is where John Marshall High School is watching. Hello to everyone in Miss May's class. Finally, Hamlet is bigger than a hamlet. It's a city in the Tar Heel state of North Carolina, and it's where Mrs. Garner's students are online at Richmond Early College High School. A small frog is making the rounds on the internets after taking a ride in Florida, and its unwilling chauffeur was not happy to have it along. She tried to dissuade it from getting any closer, but he was feeling froggy.
Oh, don't jump on me. Oh,
Somehow, despite her reaction, WSVN reports the driver was able to pull over safely and let the frog hop off. And she wasn't too traumatized to share the video on social media so all of us could enjoy it. The frog was like, I wasn't amphibian when I told you not to forget I wanted to hop a ride to Calaveras County. Oh, sure, maybe instead of fur to tail, I've got warts and flies, but you've caught plenty of your own on that windshield, and being insane in the membrane enough to crash your lily pad doesn't make me puns come. I might make you jump, but I won't make you cry. I'm Carl listeners. Thank you for watching The World from A to Z. You mean the world to me.